So I want to fast forward to your stint at the Clippers, right? And you were with the Clippers 8 years, was it? Right? Yeah.
Yeah, almost 9 years, yeah.
And you played with some characters there. I mean, I was going through the roster over those 8 years. I'm gonna just list some. I'm gonna list some dudes' names here: Lamar
Oh,
Odom, Darius
yeah.
Miles, Quentin Richardson, the Caveman himself, right? Caveman,
Chris Kaman,
Chris Cave,
yeah,
Tito Mobley, Sam Cassell, Matt Barnes. I mean, I could go on and on. I mean,
yeah.
what a group of characters, right?
Well, you know what, man? I got to say about every one of those players, man. They are good friends of mine still to this day,
Yeah.
and good relationships with them. I think, far as what we had, and you know, Andy, because
Mhm.
you were there at our games,
Mhm.
and it was an interesting thing. We had so much talent. We had a lot of talented individuals, like you say, from the standpoint of characters.
Mhm.
Everyone had their own identity until we got Sam Cassell and Katino Mobley, and the way Elton Brand took off, and how Kaman was able to kind of change his game, be more mature in the standpoint, was the real valid way when we actually made the playoffs,
Mhm.
and we were a team that people like, wow, this Clipper team is a good team. And so, but through that, the process of even, Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson, the guys that, I would say kind of started the fact of people kind of took a liking to the Clippers,
Mhm.
and Darius Miles really brought that excitement to our team. He
Mhm.
brought, this young kid out of high school
Mhm.
that was basically raw and had an unbelievable amount of talent and character. Quentin Richardson, these are guys that I grew up with, Andy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Richardson that I played with ever since we were in, sixth grade back at, our church league, to playing against each other, playing with each other, winning AAU nationals
Mhm.
as an eighth grader. And then finally, once we retired, win a
Mhm.
Big Three championship. But those guys, man, I tell you, man, they were the ones that kind of sparked, the notice, basically the recognition for the Clippers at that time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, is it safe to say that 2005-06 was your favorite season? I mean, as a season you made the playoffs, you guys finished second in the Pacific Division, right? You were sixth spot. The Lakers were in the seventh, I think, right? So that was a great year.
Well, you know what? I would say, far as from a playoff standpoint, and the recognition that our team got during that time, because we worked so hard to get to that position. Ultimately, I would say every year that I played in the NBA was a good year for me. I
Mm.
loved it. It was one of, I would say, my best times, because a kid from Chicago, Illinois, getting the opportunity to play in the NBA. First of all, getting the opportunity to go to Duke University, then playing in the NBA for almost 15 years. It was truly a blessing for me every single time I stepped on the floor.
Mm.
Even though the adversity, of our team losing, constant games, I still had that passion and that desire, that I wanted to be the best player. I
Mm.
wanted to, try to succeed at some way. So I consider every single season a blessing.